Well, hello and welcome to today's show. Today we've got some preparations for a family get-together that I've got going on. Now, I personally don't drink. I'm not opposed to it. I'm opposed to drunkenness, but not drinking per se. You can have a glass of wine, whatever you have. It's not a big deal to me. But at a family get-together, usually they can get a little raucous and they go on for many, many hours. So what I've got going on here is something I invented myself before I found someone else had already thought of my idea before I had a chance to think about it. Years after the quote Jello Shot was invented. I have no idea why somebody would have done this, but they did. I've never, well, that's not really true. I was about to say I never had a Jello Shot. I did have one that was kind of foisted upon me. A place I used to go had an ex-guitarist from Sister Susan, Sister Maybe, Sister somebody, something sister, wasn't Twisted Sister, but anyway, they were doing, the group that was there was doing Jello shots and whatever. I don't do shots. They sneak up on you too much, so I don't do them. But they go, well, we'll do a Jello shot. I've never had one of those. There's nothing that appeals to me. He had me try one. Didn't see much to it. I didn't feel any alcohol effects. It just wasn't really my thing. It just chewy, rubbery thing. But anyway, I'm gonna make Cuba Libre, which is like a rum and coke, except we have a little splash of lime in it. I have sprayed my little plastic containers. Again, I'm not thinking, you know, these things are going to be out for a while. Maybe they might want to soften and naturally come out. I don't know. But in case they don't, I'm going to go ahead and spray them. And I did. I hope I didn't get them too greasy. But we did that. We got an extra half cup of sugar, the lime juice, unsweetened gelatin here. And normal ratio is 1 per cup. But I'm going to put about 9 in here to thicken it up so it's good and rubbery. So that in case they do want to soften as they're out in, you know, in temperature during the evening, that it won't be a problem. This is 4 cups of Coke. We won't need all that. I have put it in there with the lid off for I think 3 days so it can have a chance to flatten. Lid obviously keep nothing, you know, nothing from going into it. Measuring cup, a pot, spatulas, whatever, pair of scissors. And I had to borrow this stuff from the downstairs kitchen. I don't have anything up here yet, but I was going to use this because that's a risk I'm willing to take. So I've got 2 batches set up, one for one recipe. It's also an experiment, and this is one right here. I'll know by the time these set up if I need to decrease the gelatin content. So what do you say we get started? All right, now we have the yo-ho-ho, and then we have the Coke. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do this without spilling too terribly much and get 3 cups in here because this is going to be a 6-cup total batch, which will, if we do 6 times 8 is 48. That's my matrix. So I've got 3 of them each one. So that should allow, because they're 2-ounce cups, that should work out if I did the math right. So we're going to try to pour this in there. It's amazing I had a drip cloth right there. Then we'll take, I said, I think I'll do 9, make it just a little bit more rubbery. Maybe I'll do 8. Let's do 8, see how that works. That ought to be good enough. I'll do 8 gelatin packs in here. We'll mix this up and we'll put it over here in the pot. And then right over here, we've got the hob. We'll warm it up. I don't want to get real hot because I don't want to like caramelize any of the whatever's in Coca-Cola. Don't want to mess that up. I just want it hot enough, long enough to dissolve both the sugar and the gelatin. So we'll be right back. All right, well, I have my gelatin packs in the Coca-Cola, which should have been flat, but it has in fact still managed to foam up on me a little bit. I'm going to add the added sugar. So this ought to be good, rubbery, and sweet. I'll stir that in. We'll put it over here on the hob, obviously. We'll add a careful measured amount of lime juice. That ought to be enough. We'll do a camera reset and you'll see me setting this over here on the top. All right, so now we've got it on. We'll keep it stirred to make sure it doesn't scorch on the bottom with all that extra sugar, get everything dissolved. Then when we get that done, we'll set it aside, let it cool down just a little bit before we add the yo-ho-ho so that it doesn't evaporate all the alcohol off. And then of course it just goes into the fridge. Now, once this cools a little bit, I'm hoping the bubbles will dissipate. Didn't get the Coca-Cola as flat as I would like despite the time in the fridge. Maybe if I had left it out at room temperature for those days, it would have been flatter. But we do have a little bit of bubbles. I hope to go away. I went downstairs in between takes and got a little tea basket And we'll add the rum, the yo-ho-ho, into this when it cools down a little bit. I don't want it steaming the goodness out of the liquid. Again, I'm not eating this stuff. We'll put it in the plastic container here and then just divide it into the plastic cups. In the fridge it goes. We'll wait a while. And like I say, I do have another experiment I want to try over here. I'm going to call it the Big Orange Shot. Unless somebody's already taken that name. I still may call it the Big Orange Shot. All right, got it. See you in a little bit. Okay, change of plans because these are going to have to be sitting in the refrigerator. They're going to set. Then I've got another one that I'll need to, for the next recipe, do in 2 phases, and they'll have to set in between. So I took them off of the full sheet pan, put them on a half sheet pan, and it sits over here. So these will be finishing out in the fridge. These will be done stage 1, then I'll come back with stage 2. So we have to add the elixir of frivolity. Okie dokie smoky. Set that aside. Do our little mixing. Looks like that's getting sticky. Still have some residual bubblation going on here. And I'll pour this into the pitcher, and in case I spill it, I don't want you to see that on camera, but I'll go ahead and pour it in here and we'll fill up the cups. And if we need some extra cups, we'll steal some off of this tray, put them on there, and into the fridge it goes. Okay, we're going to put them into the fridge in all of their glory, hopefully without spilling them. And we'll let those set. I got to wash some stuff up for the next one. I did add another row. Now the bottle of rum was actually over 3 cups. It was a little spare, but I figured I had enough room in the individual glasses there, or cups, whatever you want to call them, that would make up for them. Ran over a little bit, but I had the extra ones already prepped, ready to go. So we'll get a final count of these things when they get done. What is it, a 750 mil, and the recipe you've seen here, 3 cups of Coke. There we go. Now we'll get on to our next one when these set. Got them in there, they're setting now. Hopefully they'll go good, and then once they do that, we'll put the lids on them, call them good as gold. As it is, like I said, I added a little bit extra unflavored gelatin to that and a little extra sugar just to make up for that little bit of extra rum that was going in there, because I don't need any rum sitting around the house. Don't really imbibe, but we're going to have a few extra in that batch. Now here is one after the fact. You can see they are pretty darn clear. I don't know if I can get enough light up in it. Maybe I get some more light. There you go. Got a little bit of bubble right there in the center. I guess we'll do with that. Hey, appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, if you will, subscribe to the channel, either the YouTube or the Rumble channel, which this appears in. And if you can, check the notification bell or settings to make sure that you get notified when new videos are posted. Appreciate it. So I was trying to figure out why we came out a little bit full on that last batch. And what I can figure is on the Coke, I perhaps had a little more than 3 cups involved there. Then, of course, I knew I was going to be over a little bit with the yo-ho-ho. So that added together with that extra half cup of sugar may have been the reason why it was a little more full than I anticipated. They're done sitting in the back, and I have run through my sums, as they would call them, and we have this good to go. Now this one we're going to do in 2 parts. We're going to do the orange juice and vodka, if I got the right one. No, orange juice and vodka on the first half. And they'll be done same ratio, 2 and 2. That'll get the first set going. Then I'll come back after that sets. We'll make another batch of what I'm going to do here. 1 cup orange juice. I'll do 1/3 of cream. No, 2/3 of cream and 1/3 of the liqueur here. And I'll add, of course, I'll add a little bit of added sugar. That's, I think, 1/4 cup to the first layer. So that'll help cut that. This is a lower proof, so it's not a big deal. We'll put it in with that one right there, or this one right there. Whichever, this one, the straight vodka on the round 1. And then when we get this mixed, we'll put it in the big measuring cup. We'll let it chill for about 10 minutes. We don't want it too chilled and we don't want it too runny. And then we'll put it in the blender, whip it up. Hopefully that cream will give it a little bit more expansion. And then we'll pour that on top and it'll be like a little creamsicle if it comes out right. We're going to find out right now. So let us get started with part one. I have 2 cups of orange juice here. We're going to put them in the pot and bring the orange juice up to temperature so it gets just at the steaming point. We'll put in 1, 2, 3, 4 packages here, and we'll add our sugar, which is just a 1/4 cup. And then we'll whisk it up with the whisk, you know, the whisk I was willing to take, and we'll put it over here on the hob. We'll get that going. So we've got it turned on. We'll bring it just up to where it wants to steam a little bit. All right, we have added the vodka to the orange juice and sugar with the gelatin. We're going to put it in a pitcher like we did last time and try to get them as even as possible in the bottom of all these cups, even if it's a little shy. We've got them somewhat equal. Now they look like they're more than halfway, but then the bottom of the cup is tapered, so perhaps we still have the other half on top. If we fill them up and we have a little extra left over from the second half, the cream portion of it, it's not going to be the end of the world. So let's get them in the refrigerator. Now we wait. I'll give them probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then while we're at that point, we'll be making the next batch. See you in a little bit. 1 cup of orange juice already measured out. I'm going to put that in there. I'll mix the gelatin in there, and it won't take long over on the burner to come up to boil. And then we'll add the remaining ingredients, put the pan back in the refrigerator so it can start to chill a little bit. I think I'll go about 10 minutes. I don't want to whip it up too big because I don't want it to take up too much volume, but I don't want it to just be flat. So we'll see how this turns out. All right, we've come to a boil. That didn't take long at all. And I have 2 cups of the 60 proof, which isn't particularly strong. Going to put in 2/3 cup heavy cream. And 1/3 cup Caraco. I guess that's how we say that. Now this might turn out to be too much volume if it does in fact whip. That's all right, I'll just pour them into some other cups. And now we'll put this in the refrigerator. I'm gonna give it, it's a guess, 10 minutes before we put it out, put it in the blender and get the others out. Well, it's cross your fingers time. We've pulled out our previous shots. We've got the Cuba Libre in front. We have the orange base here. We're gonna pour this in here. It's 10 minutes. It started to thicken, but not a lot. And hopefully this will fluff a little bit, but not too much. Well, that's about all I want to do with it. It still looks pretty runny, so we'll just have to see if it sets. There was just a little bit left in here, not much, so we must have whipped a little bit. Now we're going to put these back in and let them set. Well, it looks like they turned out just fine. The cream side did set up. This is one of the Many Bogs. Look at that nice kind of creamy top. And if we see down on the bottom, we see they are clear, as clear as we're going to get with actual real orange juice. But there they are, 2-layer.